Okay, more practice on domain and range. This is number 2 of your homework. And you also have to say whether the function is increasing or decreasing. Okay, well, we can do that first. So decreasing, remember, we're reading it left to right. So we're reading it like that, like you would read a book. So we're starting out high at y equals 5, and we're all the way down to y equals -6. So we are decreasing. Decreasing. Okay, we're going down, we're decreasing. Then you have to do domain and range. So remember, domain, you're looking at the x values. Side to side, you're looking at the x values. Okay, left to right. All right, so I start out at x equals, this is -5, right? X is -5. And then we have a solid line, until, what is that? X equals 2. I think. I'll just have to make sure I draw it right. Yeah, that's right. So your domain, we have a solid dot at -5. So that means we have to put a bracket, -5. And then to 2, but there's a hole there. So we never actually get to 2. We just get as close as we can, but we never actually get there. So you have to put a parenthesis. This is called interval notation. This is an interval. This is not like a coordinate point. Like I don't go graph -5, 2. That's not what this means. This is an interval from x equals -5, which is right here, x equals -5, all the way to x equals 2. That is our domain. Okay, range. Sorry, notification. Okay, range. Same idea, kind of, except now you're looking at the y values, so we're looking at up and down. What's our graph doing up and down? Okay, the highest point, well, if we're starting from the left, the highest point is 5, hopefully. Yes. Okay, and the lowest point is -6, so that's where we have that hole. So we'll go over here, our range. And you always want to start with the lower number first. Sorry, notification. So my lowest y value that is on the graph, well, sort of, -6. But it's a parenthesis because there's a hole there. There's a hole there, so we're not actually ever getting to -6. We're just getting as close as we can. That's why it's a parenthesis. Remember, if this was a regular dot and it was filled in, this would be a bracket. But it's not. Okay. And then we're going from y equals -6 all the way up to y equals 5. So you always want to write your lower number first. You want to go from low to high. From low to high. Okay, that's number 2. Okay, we're just doing number 3. Number 3 on your homework. So, first things first, is it increasing or decreasing? I'm doing this one because this arrow is going to mess people up. That just means this graph is continuing forever this way. But we still have to read our graphs from left to right like you would read a book. Okay. So as we look at it this way, it is decreasing. Decreasing. This just means it's going to continue on forever this way. But it is still, from left to right, it is decreasing. Decreasing. All right, domain. So remember, you're looking at the x values for domain. All right, well, this is increasing forever this way. And that means this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So this is increasing forever this way in the negative direction. So -6, -10, -20, -385, etc. So negative infinity, it's going forever in the negative direction. And then what about the other way? Well, we have this hole, and then we stop. So what's the hole? The point of the hole is, hopefully it's 4 and negative 6. If I drew it right. I did. It's always good. So the coordinate of this is 4, negative 6. X equals 4, y equals negative 6. So that's the coordinate point of this hole. Okay, but since it's a hole, and remember we're looking at domain, so we're looking at x values, 4 parentheses, because we never actually hit that point. It's a hole. We just get as close to 4 as possible, and then that's it. We'll never actually hit 4. Okay, so that's your domain, negative infinity to 4. Range. Now you're looking at the y values. Range. Okay. Well, actually, I could have left that because this graph is still continuing forever in that direction. Oh, we're not. Okay. I didn't really notice this when I was drawing the graph. So this graph, so this is y equals negative 1 right here. Yes. This is y equals negative 1. I'm going to draw this line in. Okay. This line is getting closer and closer and closer to hitting y equals negative 1, but it never actually hits it. It's easier to see when you look at your homework. You can see how it's getting closer and closer and closer to it, but it's never actually going to hit it. All right. So that means, well, actually, that's not our lowest. Our lowest point is over here. So our lowest point is negative 6 with a parenthesis because we never actually hit negative 6. And then this line is it's going to continue to get closer and closer and closer to this green line, but it's never actually going to touch it. So that means we put a parenthesis for negative 1, and that is our range. So that is number 2. Number 4, I think I'm just going to do, I might do all of these. We'll see if I get tired of it. Number 4. So, first things first, is it increasing or decreasing? Remember, look at it from left to right. Is it increasing or decreasing? Increasing! Good job. Number 4 is increasing. We're starting out in the negatives, and we're going up to the positive. We're increasing. Our y values are getting larger. Okay. Domain. Domain. Remember, you're looking at the x values for the domain. Well, let's see. We are going forever this way. It's never ending. So we cross the negative 5, but then we're just continuing on forever and ever and ever. So that means we are at negative infinity with a parenthesis because you never actually hit infinity. 2, same thing over here. We're increasing forever this way. This one's easier to see because this line just extends forever in the positive x direction. So that's going to infinity. So that's our domain. Negative infinity extends forever, and it extends forever this way. And then we have the range. Range, you're looking at y values. All right. Once again, this is extending forever this way. So this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so on. So this is extending forever in the negative direction, negative y direction. So we have negative infinity with a parenthesis because we never actually get there. 2, once again, you have this line that's getting closer and closer and closer to y equals 4. Oops. But it's never actually going to touch it. See if I can do this. Oh, no, we need to go a little bit up. Wow, it was really bad. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you are getting forever closer and closer. This is 4 to y equals 4, but you're never actually touching it. So then when you write your range, you put 4 with a parenthesis because we're never actually going to touch 4. Never actually going to touch it. That's number 4. Woo, number 5. Okay, number 5. First things first. Is it increasing or decreasing? Is it increasing or decreasing? Yeah, it's increasing. You need to look at your graph from left to right. So from here to here, what's it doing? The y values are increasing. Increasing. I'm going from y equals -2 to y equals -1. So we're getting bigger. We're increasing. We're moving in the positive direction. We're going up. Okay. So we are increasing. And then domain. Domain. So I'm looking at my x values as I move from left to right, side to side. What's going on? Okay, well, I notice that I have 2 dots. I don't have any arrows. That means this is it. This is the whole graph. It doesn't continue on forever. It goes from this point to this point, and that's it. End of story. So, my lowest x value is 1. This guy is 1, -2. That's the point. X equals 1, y equals -2. That's this point. And then this point is x equals 6, and y equals -1. Okay. So for my domain, I'm going from x equals 1 to x equals 6. So finally, we get to use brackets. 1, because it's on the graph. It's a filled-in dot. And it's going to 6 with another bracket. That's your domain. X equals 1. This means x equals everything between x equals 1 and x equals 6. Okay? My domain. That means that's including fractions. Because this is a continuous line. So I could find like 1.5 is on my line. 2 1/3 is on this line. 2 3/4 that's on the line. Fractions and decimals are included. It's not just whole numbers. It's everything between 1 and 6. 4.5 that's on my line. Okay? So that's my domain. Everything between x equals 1 and x equals 6. My range. Now we're looking at the y values. Looking at the y values. Okay. Well, my lowest y value is -2. Bracket. Because it's a filled-in point. It's on the graph. Not a hole. -2. My highest one is -1. That's my range. Everything between y equals -2 to y equals -1. Oop. That's my range. So -1.5, that's on here. -1 1/3, that's on there. -1.83, that's on there. Okay, decimals and fractions are included. Everything between -2 and -1 is on this line. Okay. Anyways, that is number 5. And number 6. You have something like this. So first things first, is it increasing or is it decreasing? You look at it from left to right. It is increasing. We're going up. Like a sideways elevator. So we're increasing. Increasing. Okay, and then domain. So you're looking at your x values. Well, I'm continuing on forever. And I'm continuing on forever. Do I have any limitations? No. Do I have any jumps or breaks in my graph? No. So, negative infinity with a parenthesis, because we never actually get there, to positive infinity with another parenthesis. We're increasing forever in both directions. There are no jumps. There are no breaks in the graph. It's just a continuous line continuing forever and ever in both directions. Range. Same idea. The same thing. We're continuing on forever in the negative y direction, so we'll keep getting more and more negative. And then we'll continue up this way and get more and more positive. Hooray. So once again, it's just negative infinity with a parentheses to infinity with a parentheses. So your domain and your range are the same. Because this is just a line that continues on forever in both directions, has no limitations. Cool, that's number 6. Number 7. Haha, Spanish. First things first, is it increasing or is it decreasing? What do you think? Yes, it's increasing. We start here, and our y values are increasing. We're going higher and higher and higher. We're increasing. Increase. Oh, that was bad handwriting. Increasing. And then going. This one they were kind of obnoxious about. I didn't draw it super accurately. You're just gonna have to estimate, but this is supposed to be well, -5, obviously. -5 and 1/2. So it's like it should be like right here. Yeah. Okay, this point is -5, x equals -5, y equals 1/2. You can estimate for the fraction. If you get like, I don't know what you would get, 1/3, whatever. Close enough. It's not quite a 1. It's between 0 and 1. Anyway, so domain. So my lowest x value is -5 because the graph is not continuing on forever this way. There's a dot, there's a point right there, and it stops. There's no arrow. So I get to put a bracket, put my -5, that's where it starts, or that's the lowest x value. And then what's the highest x value? Well, let's see. Oh, it's continuing on forever that way. There are no limitations on it. There are no breaks or jumps in the graph. So it's continuing on from x equals -5 to forever and ever and ever, so infinity, with a parenthesis, because we never actually get to infinity. So that's the domain. And then the range. Can I see if you do it now? No. Yeah. All right. And then the range. We're looking at the y values. So what's my lowest y value? 1/2. So I just put a bracket because it's a filled in dot. It's on the graph. 1/2. To what? So my lowest y value is 1/2. And then looking at this way, oh look, I'm continuing forever. So it goes to infinity with a parenthesis. Because we'll never actually reach infinity. And that is number 7. Number 8. I'm just committed where I'm doing all of them. It's happening. So your graph is over here. So once again, do not let the arrow mess you up. You have to look at it from left to right, like you're reading a book, from left to right. What's going on from left to right? We're starting out down here, and we're going up. So we are increasing. The arrow means that it continues on forever in this direction, but still when you're looking from left to right, you're increasing. Okay, domain. So we're looking at the x values. All right, so what is my lowest x value? Well, I have this arrow that's going this way forever and ever and ever, so it'll continue on like. I didn't do that very straight, but it'll continue on forever that way, forever and ever and ever. Okay, so my domain, negative infinity, it's going towards negative infinity. And then my highest, I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay. Then my highest x value, well, let's look. Looks like I have a point right here. That means my graph stops. It does not continue on forever in this direction. It stops right there. So I put the 5 with a bracket. Because this point is actually x equals 5 and y equals negative 1. That's the coordinate of that point. As long as I drew it correctly. Yes, I did. Okay. And then the range. Looking at your y values. Okay, so once again, you're decreasing forever this way, which means my y values, because this would be negative 7, negative 8, negative 15, negative 100, so on and so forth. This line is decreasing forever. Negative infinity with a parentheses. And then what's my highest y value? So remember, you're looking up and down. My highest y value. Aha! It stops at negative 1. So that would be your range. And remember, you're always writing low to high. Low to high. Alright. Oh, that's number 8. Les pause. Last one of these, number 9. So, first things first, is it increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. We're looking at it from left to right. It starts high up in the positives. I think this is y equals 8. And then it goes down. So we are decreasing. Okay. Domain. Remember, domain, you're looking at your x values. Uh-oh. My battery's running low. Hold on. Okay, we're good. Domain. X values. Okay. So once again, I'm increasing forever this way. There's no limit on my graph going this way. There's no breaks or jumps in it. I'm just increasing forever in that direction. Okay, so that's going to be, well, let's figure out our lowest first. Sorry, we should be doing low to high. So this line is continuing on forever. And this is an exponential. So this line is continuing on forever and ever and ever in this direction, getting closer and closer to the x-axis, but never actually touching it. It'll never actually touch this. So your domain is, oh wait, this was right. I was starting right. This is negative infinity because this will continue forever this way, getting more and more negative in the x direction. So it's negative infinity 2, and it'll continue forever this way. So this is like x equals 6. So this will be like x equals 25, and it'll continue on forever that way. So negative infinity to infinity with parentheses because we never actually touched infinity, and then your range is the one that's a little bit tricky on this one. So what's my lowest? Remember, low to high. What's my lowest y value? Well, remember, this is gonna, you see this? Oh, you can't see my line. Hold on. There we go. This line is continuing on forever, getting closer and closer to the x-axis, but it's never actually going to touch it. It's never actually going to touch it. So, it gets closer and closer to 0, but never actually hits it. Because remember, the x-axis means y equals 0. So y is getting closer and closer to 0, but never actually hits it, so we use a parenthesis, use 0. And then, this one is increasing forever upwards, so it goes to positive infinity with a parenthesis. Okay. There you go.